Hi, everybody. It's Aoife here, Senior Director of Global Search and Marketing in Lionbridge. I've been inundated with requests around one of my biggest predictions for e-consultancy in 2017, which was voice search and personal assistant search optimization. So I thought I'd take a couple of minutes and talk you through what we see happening and how you can win and kind of the lay of the landscape for personal assistant search optimization. So I thought we'd kind of go back to the future for a minute because I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's really like, what if we could go back to the easy days of SEO circa 1995 when doing one small little thing in SEO really got you huge gains. So what if we could go back to that? And we kind of in a position right now where we can, with especially with Google. What if I told you we could actually own position 1 and 2 again by doing some simple and easy things? So except this time it's position 0, not position 1. So there's an awful lot around this, and because I work in a global world and a multilingual world, it's the world beyond English, right? So we really have to think about, are the personal assistants ready to deal with a multi-market, multilingual daily user, right? Can they actually understand every market? We know they're really good at them in English right now, but how is that going to play out in every other market? And how are the personal assistants going to adapt to that? Especially the ones that, Google are quite far ahead of that, but what about all of the other ones that are coming online beyond just the ones that we know about? We'll cover the landscape in a minute. Also, are brands ready, right? What do brands need to do? And this is what I'm being asked a lot is, what is global best practice around that? Well, my answer is pretty simple. It's first past the post wins here, right? There is only position 0 and there can only be one winner. So, if you think about how you ask an assistant a question, it's only giving you back one response. So if brands are going to kind of take a step back and have a wait and see approach, or wait to see what global best practice is around that, guess what? Your competition that took the leap has already won. So any brands that can do this and adapt this really quickly, especially for brands like Google loves early adapters and awards them really, really well. So, if you're thinking about it, you really, really have to dive in and start understanding it now. If you wait, it's going to be too late, right? So what are the trends that are really driving around personal assistant, and why are we talking about personal assistants rather than just voice search, right? So there's 4 trends that have really led up to this, and this is directly from Google. If you've never been to the thinkwithgoogle.com site, go check it out. There's some fantastic data and information there. Mobile, we live in a mobile first world. We know that. Voice search, we know that, we all do it. If I'm thinking about myself, I do it every day, but there's a huge upward trajectory on voice search, and I'll show you some stats around that. But the other one is messaging apps, right? If we're not doing voice search, we're doing messaging apps, and we're even now recording voice recordings and sending them by message. We're not just even texting anymore. And now connected devices, right? So all of these things together, we're now in the age of assistant, and it absolutely changes how we search and how people search for information. So look at throwing some stats at you real quick, right? So by 2020, 50% of searches will come from voice. This is a ComScore, so that's just massive. There's different variants of the stats out there. Some of them say 30%, some of them like ComScore going up to 50%. But even if we just take all data with a pinch of salt, it's very, very clear where this is going, right? And according to Google, 20% of all searches on Android are now by voice. So 40% of adults are now using voice search at least once a day. And this is a ComScore stat as well. So, looking at, I suppose Siri and OK Google are the ones that were most prevalently known and people have been using because they've been on their mobile devices now for quite a while. But, how we search and what we're searching for is changing. So nearly 50% of people are now using voice search when researching products, right? They're not just going to the desktop. They're doing it in real time, on the go, in the shop, bricks and mortar. And they're using, this is according to Social Media Today. So, and, let's not forget the social media channels that they're using voice search for as well. So, how we're searching and how people are finding your products and your brand is changing. right? It's not just about Google and Siri. High consumers usage of voice assistants like automobiles, right? If you think about like Ford are really heavily looking at this right now, and autonomous vehicles or self-driving vehicles, they're all going to be voice activated, right? So, and that's a personal assistant activated. So 51% of households and 39% indicates increased comfort with the technology. So we are becoming very comfortable with it. And I think when I say we, that is the non-native generation, right? The natives are just going to be comfortable with this regardless. So, the prevalence of the technology will be adapted as people become really used to it, using it, and that is just growing exponentially at the moment. Size of the market, right? We established those 21.4 million smart speakers in the US by 2020. That's according to Activate. Now, that's just a USA stat, right? Alexa, Amazon Echo, huge, they're first ones to really bring this to the market. Google Home, obviously launched in the US. It's, launched in the UK in April. I'm waiting patiently for it to come out in Ireland. But I suppose these are the two that are sitting at the forefront of our minds at the moment. But we have to think beyond these devices as well. Size of the market, as I was saying, like this again is from Google Trends directly, right? So navigate home, call mom, call dad, obviously very US centric terms there. I would say mom, not a mom, but you could just see 2013 to 2016, it's just a massive growth curve going straight up. So, if you think about this, how are you as a brand going to, and your brand, how are you going to adapt to your content to be available for these voice searches, and how do you really work with these personal assistants to win with this race? So looking at the landscape, as I said, we're used to Siri and Google. They were, really the first ones people got very comfortable with. Then Amazon came along. Now we've got Google Home. We've got Nest and, smart devices and IoT devices that are all going to be connected. They're going to be all voice enabled. Baidu is there. This is not just as saying, this is not an English market only. Like Baidu in China has gone after, their own voice activated personal assistants, actually translate to little fish. As I mentioned, Ford, but all autonomous vehicles, all self-driving vehicles are going to be voice activated. So, and they're going to be people are going to want them connected. It's going to be, when you tell your car to drive you home, you're probably going to want it connected to, and turn the oven on, right? So, again, all of the stuff that, has been predicted that we're now in this world. So how do you get into this world now? Samsung has already, brought out their own device. Mattel with Barbie has brought out this device. Again, the natives, the young kids playing with these toys right now, this is just natural for them to talk to these, to their toys and for the toys to talk back, right? And we're not going to get into the security aspects of that in this call, but, kids are growing up with this. It's just going to be part of their life. Starbucks is actually talking about bringing a bot they're testing at the moment, a bot into their phone where you can just order, pick up your phone, order your non-fat decaf latte cappuccino and just walk into your Starbucks and pick it up, right? And hopefully they will know exactly who your name is. Obviously, all of this gets connected. It's not a single device. These are personal assistants. You will connect everything in your home. And when I say we are, right? We're there. So I wanted to do just a couple of quick tests with you, right, to show you what this actually means. I'm going to jump into my Chrome here. So we've been testing this really hard in Lionbridge on ourselves, as the Americans say, we're drinking our own Kool-Aid, right? So hopefully you guys can hear this when I do some voice searches. I am doing it on desktop here for this demo, but you can absolutely, phone is normal. What is translation technology? And of course, it didn't work when I wanted it to. Let me just try that again. But okay, well, right. We're going to jump to another one, but this does call back out translation memory. Google will actually read back this and you will see here, there's actually a rich snippet here. It's calling out the rich snippet. So let me try a different one and see if it will pick me up this time. Oh. Okay, Google, who is my Teresa?
According to Forbes, the company is acquiring the online luxury shopping business Mytheresa from founders Christoph and Suzanne Butch and then private equity firm Acton Capital Partners.
Okay, so I just asked who is Mytheresa to Google. And the result is Forbes, right? So if I did this, you can see when I typed it in, you're getting the same result. It's a rich snippet, it's Forbes, and it's giving you this piece of content, right? How's this piece of content come up, and how has Forbes owned a who is question for a really big German brand, right? Luxury brand online. So if we take a look under the hood, as they say, I've looked at this is the URL that is pulling the rich snippet, that is giving back the voice search. And if we look here, way down in in this content, it's not even the first couple of lines. It's pulling back this information here and giving it back as a voice search. So in order to win on voice search, you need to have a rich snippet. If you have the rich snippet, which is position 0, the personal assistant will then read this out. There is only one rich snippet. There is only one position 0, right? So let's try another one and see if this will work. How to make the best donuts.
Here is information from the Washington Post.
Now, this one was really interesting to me, right? Washington Post for how to make the best donuts. I mean, recipes is one of the most prolific things that get fought for online, right? So how did the Washington Post get a rich snippet for content that we really wouldn't associate with them? First of all, they're a publisher, and publishers have been really early adapters for to get rich snippets, which is structured data. So I looked at the back end, right? Now, what's really interesting here, look how far down this rich snippet piece of content was pulled. Whoa, there it is, all the way down here, right? Now let's look at, what date was this? This was published on the 23rd of May. So how did the Washington Post manage to secure position 0 and a Google voice search result, or personal assistant voice search result, on how to make the best donuts within almost instantly, right? It only published it a week ago. It has structured data, and very, very clean structured data. So as you can see here, this is all the structured data. This is the content of the article, and this is the structured data over here. So how did it do that? Well, it is actually implemented schema or microdata, and then it has optimized this schema. It's been very, very clever about how much content it put in to the schema. If you're the only way that you can win the rich snippet, and ultimately the only way you can win the PASO or personal assistant, is to have structured, optimized schema on your site. This is really easy proof that if you do this, a website that is not associated in Google with making donuts is actually winning on this voice search within a week of putting the content up there, right? I'll show you a bit of structured data here as well. This is for the one actually that didn't work there, the translation technology one, but this is structured data we have put on the back end. So as you will see, there's service type, and I'm not going to go into all of this because it's quite technical, but if you're on the marketing side, just ask your tech teams to help you here. But basically think of structured data or optimized schema as a secondary way of giving the personal assistants extra information to give a voice search result back. All of the voice search results that we are seeing are being pulled from optimized schema, from nowhere else, right? If you want to check for that, it's very easy. There is a Google structured data testing tool. I will start a new one here. You can literally put in a URL here, and I'm just going to put Lionbridge.com just to run a test so you can see. It's a free tool with Google. Just put it in here, and boom, it's going to show you the structured data if there is any. And there's our structured data on the right-hand side. So you don't need to be a techie to understand how to do this. All you need to know is Google structured data, run it on your website, see if you have structured data. If you don't, go talk to your tech teams and get this on your site. This is going to help you win on PASO. So just put a screenshot there just in case that one didn't work, and of course it didn't. Here's ones we haven't just tested once. Here's variants. We've tested on 3 to 4, and we won pretty quickly. And within a couple of weeks, we're still waiting on the last one to come through, but that is all on OK Google. So to recap, how do you win on PASO? So rich snippets, getting this result on a rich snippet within a search engine. And this works for Bing as well. This is not just Google. Get that rich snippet, win that by getting optimized schema. Once you have optimized schema on the site, and by the way, it's prerequisite for AMP as well, or AMP for mobile. Once you run a voice search, you can then win on the personal assistants, obviously with the aim to convert new customers to your brand. So that's it, a quick 10 minutes or just over there on PASO. So reach out at any time. You can get me on Twitter at Aoife Dublin, or you can email on aoifemcilraith.lionbridge.com. Thanks.